What do you say, everybody? And welcome to the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Look, we just piggybacked the tailgate show, and now we're going to take your calls. We're going to talk Alabama football. He's Trey Annity, and I'm Mick Gillispie. And as you hang out with us here on the YouTube channel, guys, like and subscribe. And we really appreciate all of you for being part of our show and being part of our channel. 70,000 plus subscribers. We're on the mission to fill up Bryant-Denny Stadium with subscribers. So you're talking over 100,000, and it's within reach right now. But it's all because of you. I got here last year before the season, right? We were at 30. So, I mean, it's been an incredible couple of years. And part of that has been Alabama winning a lot of football games. And Trey and I are going to break it down. Alabama plays Georgia tomorrow, 7 o'clock Central Time at Lucas Oil Stadium. Phone lines, we're going to take your calls at 205-850-0883 and talk a little bit of Alabama football tonight. Probably do about an hour. So, guys, get your calls in and let's talk. And then we'll have coverage of the game all day tomorrow. And Trey and I will be back on after the game. So it's going to be a late night tomorrow. But what's up, Trey?
It is going to be a late night, but you know what? That's what this is all about. It is National Title Eve. What is up, Mick? Thanks for being here, everybody. I love this. Like you said, we kind of roll in from the tailgate show. It's nonstop coverage because this is the big day, the big couple of days. This is what we've all been waiting for. I'd actually just right before we started this show, Mick, I was on Twitter and I saw a video of this guy on an airplane. It was all Georgia fans, all dog fans. They were doing some kind of dog call on the plane. It kind of got me fired up. I mean, this is, this game means a lot for a lot of different reasons. This is Alabama, Georgia, round number, 5, 6 of this recent series. And, this game is, of course, for another national championship. So a lot on the line. Guys, get in the comments, hit the like button. This is it, Mick. We're finally here. How are you doing tonight?
Look, I'm doing great. We put the show on, just finished up. That's going to be on radio tomorrow, as most of you guys know that are swinging over here. And as I watched, I was just like impressed with you and Adam and everyone else that came on the show. How funny it was, how exciting everybody was in the comments section. It was great hearing perspectives from, Jeff Cameron, who picked Georgia, Mike Johnson, who lives in Atlanta and played at Alabama, Ben George, who is one of my dearest friends, and the guy that actually started that tailgate show. He swung on for a segment. So we did a lot of stuff on that show, and I guess it just comes down to I'm ready for kickoff. We broke it down. I gave and I'll do it again if you want me to, but I gave my breakdown of this matchup when I was talking with Jeff Cameron and why I think Alabama's going to win this game. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to, but I think that there's a formula for Alabama to win. And when the first time these two teams played, I didn't think there was. I mean, and then we saw that, yeah, guess what? Alabama not only won, but they won convincing.
Yeah, I mean, this game is so much different than that game, though. We've talked about the SEC titles so much at this point, gone around in circles. And, I really, the thing I keep going back to is the deep ball in that game. Alabama executes early on that deep ball. And, the timeliness of Alabama's scores. Georgia goes up 10-0 after a big stop, in the Georgia red zone. They get a field goal out of it, but Alabama doesn't go down 14-0. They come back. I think it was, 1-2 plays later, deep ball to Jamison Williams. They cut it to 3. After that, Alabama was rolling. They score, I think, 15 points, 20 maybe in that second quarter, and just kind of take over in that game. Alabama is going to have to bring that first half energy again. Sometimes this season, we've seen Alabama struggle in the first 3 quarters. In the 12th week of the season, it was 3 quarters and about 14 minutes there before they really started clicking. But against a team like Georgia, with that good of a defense, you have to stay in the game. Whether that's being tied or maybe leading by a touchdown, of course, in a perfect world, you're winning decisively going into the second half, into the fourth quarter. But, when you're playing a defense like that with the Nakobe Deans of the world, with Jordan Davis, with such a historic defense that Georgia has, you have to be able to stay in the game, set the pace, score early. And I've said it all week, force Stetson Bennett to throw the ball on the other side of things. Don't let them run all over you, because that's where they've had success this season. We saw it in their playoff game against Michigan. They ran the football well. We saw the trick play kind of set them up there to get that early energy as well. But, just execute the little things right. Stick to your plan. It worked the first time, obviously, so don't change anything up necessarily, and just execute, adjust to the wrinkles. This is football, and, this is what we get with 1 versus 2, the most pure form of the game, I think.
Guys, call in. The phone lines are open. We're going to take your calls. The number is 205-850-0883. And I got to tell you, Jersey Dolphins brings up something that now's a good time to talk about. He says, if Bryce's auntie is reading this, please call in tonight. We'd love to hear from you. She called in during the post-game show after Alabama beat Georgia, right? Were you on with me, Trey, or was it the next night? I can't remember, but I remember talking to her. And I have had so many people comment about that call. She's a celebrity, right? She came on, and I just got out of the way and let her talk, and she was fired up, and she gave us a lot of inside info on Bryce. She was so proud of him. Oh, yeah. And she's a viewer of the show. I hope she didn't get in trouble with the family, because I would love to hear from her again too. But that's what this show is all about. You guys calling in, giving your takes on things, letting us know what you think about Alabama's chances of beating Georgia, the concerns that you might have. 205-850-0883. Well, Trey, let me throw a couple of things at you. I want you to compare and contrast Alabama's defensive line against Georgia's defensive line, because I feel like those are two enormous strengths for both teams.
No doubt about it. And I mean, at this point in the season for Alabama, you may not have a better defensive line through and through talent-wise, but you have a hotter defensive line. I mean, this group has been playing more motivated than any part of the team, in my opinion. I think Will Anderson is going to be Will Anderson, but I like what a caller said the other night, or maybe a commenter on our score prediction show. How about Dallas Turner? I mean, this is, or maybe it was Adam actually on our tailgate show. This is a guy that has started to really find some consistency. And, he was thrown into that role, and it didn't necessarily look slow at first, but it looked like he needed a few snaps to kind of feel comfortable. We're seeing a more than comfortable Dallas Turner. I mean, he looks like a sophomore at this point. I think when you can have that threat at outside linebacker, combined with a very solid interior defensive line as well, and give credit to Phil Mathis for keeping that side of the line quiet as well. I think overall, this defensive line is that talented, and they're so hot right now. They're continuing to kind of gain the momentum. I think Dallas Turner, like Adam said earlier in our tailgate show, he is the X factor in this game for Alabama's defense. Will Anderson's going to be Will Anderson. He's probably going to be my MVP pick, because I think, he'll have those big moments. He'll disrupt Stetson Bennett enough. He'll have the big time sacks, but Dallas Turner on the other side of that has been wreaking havoc, not nearly the same, but right there with Will Anderson is starting to gain that attention. If he can keep that momentum going, I think Alabama's defensive line is going to be in really good shape.
Alabama plays Georgia at Lucas Oil Stadium. And Trey, a lot of people are talking about how cold it is. The people that have gone up there for the games, a lot of criticism to college football for playing the game in a cold weather city. It's a great stadium, and it's a really cool place, but it's also this time of year frigid.
It is. And, we just saw the basketball title in Indianapolis back in March. So this is, the championship city for college athletics right now. But, I think it's a perfect site. It's not like they're playing the game outdoors. It's a beautiful stadium. Lucas Oil, I think, is a perfect venue for an event like this, because it's not, too big. I think the capacity is somewhere, from 60 to 80,000. That's exactly what you want for a national title. I think it's going to be an intimate setting. And hey, how about this? It's not in Atlanta, Georgia. This isn't in the backyard of either team. We saw LSU play their national title against Clemson in New Orleans, in their most recent win. So I think, if nothing else, the neutrality of this site is really cool, because a lot of the times, the location, no matter where it is, has a little bit of a lean. Sometimes we see Arizona, or San Francisco, and USC hasn't been very good. So that's pretty neutral as well. But Indianapolis is a true neutral site for this game. If Alabama could beat Georgia when there was, 60,000 Dogs fans in the SEC title, just imagine what they can do when, it's about a 50-50 crowd. I think Georgia's going to travel well, but I'd like to think that Alabama fans, are just as motivated to go to this game. I could understand where, if you're Alabama in the SEC title, if you're a fan of the team, you may want to save the money for the national title. That was not a guaranteed win by any means. This game is for everything. So I think this is a true neutral site. I'm incredibly excited to see, the look of the field. I've heard it's incredible. And like you said, the whole scene in sight. People are going to the Brickyard. They're going to Pacers games. They're having concerts. I think it's a really cool deal for, the city of Indianapolis.
Hey, Trey Yannity. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to have you guys with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, 205-850-0883. Talking Alabama and Georgia here in just a few minutes. We're going to start taking calls. So Get in there, get in the call center so you can talk to us tonight, give your opinions, maybe pick a score on the game that'll take place in Indianapolis tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, like, how about this being a title city? Alabama has had to play Georgia in Atlanta, which is their backyard, but maybe Atlanta's Alabama's backyard, Trey. I mean, they've dominated in the SEC championship game. They've dominated in bowl games there, whether it be for national championships or the Peach Bowl, playoff games. They had the preseason games, a bunch of those that they've won. So although it's in Georgia physically, Alabama's played so well there. I wonder if going to Indianapolis is going to change Alabama's luck against the Dogs.
I think Alabama is going to show up and play on whatever kind of playing surface they're given and, just try to keep their heads down and not worry about all of that. But then, Bryant-Denny East is a real thing. I think Mercedes-Benz Stadium has just kind of felt comfortable for Alabama. I think, for whatever reason, there's a few stadiums like that. Dallas, you look at AT&T Stadium, that's kind of been a home where they beat USC and have gotten some big wins there. Over time, Miami has been a great spot for Alabama as well. They won the national title there last year. So I think, Indianapolis is different, but at the same time, it's different for Georgia. They had their success in the playoff in the Rose Bowl out in California. So it's not like, they've had a history at Lucas Oil to where you can make the argument it's kind of their home field for the neutral site. But, this game is going to really be about execution. I've said it time and time again. And I love a commenter earlier, just kind of getting in here and saying, we've kind of gone in circles. We've talked about it so much. I'm so ready for this game to be here. Whoever executes, if it's Stetson Bennett being able to make those good decisions like we didn't see in the SEC title, if it's Alabama doing what Alabama does, Bryce Young showing why he's the Heisman winner, rolling out in coverage, hitting a bunch of different receivers. Alabama scheme-wise is going to kind of need to, revert back to what we saw in Atlanta. I don't know if running the football as much as they did against, a front like Georgia's defense is going to be as successful as it was against Cincinnati, but Alabama has all the tools in the world to win this game. They're the betting underdog. I get it. But this is the national title. And it'd be one thing if these were two teams that hadn't played. We've seen the tape. We know what can happen, but we also know what can happen on the other side. This is a really good Georgia football team. Excited to hear what the callers have to say tonight because, there's just so much hype been built for this game. We are finally here.
All right, Trey, let's do that. Let's take a call real quick and hang around and be part of this. And if you guys want to call in, 205-850-0883, let's go to the phone line. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Mick.
What's up?
Hey, Mick, you got me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Ed, I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, what's up, Ed? How's it going, man? Roll Tide.
All right. Roll Tide, yes, sir. I'm among all these Bulldog people. And I'll tell you, it's been a challenge. I've lived over here about 50 years. I'm an old guy from back in Bear Bryant days. But, the Bulldogs are, I think that's in Alabama's fight song. You got to teach the Bulldogs to behave. And I think Alabama's been doing a good job. And
well, Ed, I mean, they're going to have to teach him to. Yeah, we're here. We heard everything you said. We're going to have to teach him to behave again. I mean, like we tamed them, and then they got out. Again. We got to round them up again, right?
Well, hey, I've heard their fan base and even their on-air team interviews this week. Their broadcasters, and their take is, oh, that was an anomaly against Alabama, and just to prove that was an anomaly, just look how we handled Michigan. We didn't make mistakes against Michigan. Stetson Bennett, he bounced back like he had played all year, and but the only thing is they don't take into account they weren't playing Alabama. They were playing Michigan, like you said, So of course they're going to look good, and I found the other strange thing about there's no mention in the press or anything about JT, the other quarterback. It's just like he doesn't exist. There's nobody interviewing him or anything. So there's something going on with that I think we don't know. He may have physically, or he can't and ready to accommodation with his injuries to handle the game or whatever. There's some reason. But I hope they keep Bennett. I hope they play him. So I think I'm like you. That a light went off with Alabama after that Auburn victory, and I see it's like those young guys all of a sudden discovered themselves. They learned a lot about themselves this season, but they all clicked in the Auburn game, and ever since they've been walking. And even Saban's walking with a little swagger and talking with a little swagger on him. So I think they're mentally adjusted. And here's one thing I want to put out there somebody hadn't talked about. That national championship trophies have got to be routine at Alabama, Mick. And, you know, you go into Bear Bryant Museum, you see all those trophies. And you look at them, the crystal balls are there. And this new trophy, the big chrome dildo-looking thing is there. And but you have to get down close and look at the date on the thing to see when it was. But here's the thing that I think will ring a bell with these young players. And Saban, all he has to tell them is, look, guys, you can change history. That trophy is one thing. They all kind of look alike. But the thing that's on the what's on the game day set and all the SEC set, that helmet sitting there with that number 18 on it, you guys have a chance to change that decal on that helmet. It's in your power in this game. So I think he can appeal to those guys on that angle. Might communicate with them. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll let even Trey jump in on this. I agree. I mean, this is what Nick Saban's been able to do, and there is a certain swagger. Trey, there was a guy named Fonzarella, right? That used to be on the TV show that was on reruns when I was a kid, and I'm sure you might have seen it or heard about it. But Nick Saban's got his jacket.
Is this Happy Days? There we go. Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I love what the caller said there, you know, kind of talking about the motivations of this game. For Alabama, Nick Saban's able to generate that every year because, like you said, you know, it's about changing that helmet sticker. It's about creating your own legacy, you know, with your group of guys and your class. For Georgia, you know, what worries me a little bit about this game, if you're an Alabama fan, is the fact that, you know, they're not just representing their group, they're representing the last, you know, 40 plus years of Georgia football because they haven't been able to climb that mountain. They haven't been able to put a trophy in their, you know, Bear Bryant Museum, whatever that is over in Athens. This group is motivated, and Stetson Bennett and, you know, the players come out and talk about how they're not worried about the implications of the program, the fact that they haven't won a national title in that long. But, you know, that pressure is there as well. Alabama's not worried about that. They're going to block out all that noise. But for Georgia, you know, maybe that little bit of extra motivation is there. I think for Alabama, like you said, finding ways to get motivated, whether it's, you know, looking at the helmet and saying, we got to put a 19 on there, you know, just being motivated because this group came together and you're, you know, playing for the guys around you, whatever that is, find that motivation. Because we saw that in the SEC title game for, you know, just being the big underdog. That was the motivation there. If you can bring that energy out, you know, bring that fight out immediately, Alabama will win the game again.
Ed, anything else?
No, Mick, that's it. I'll throw out a score. I think it's going to be lower than last time. I think I'm going to go with something like 31-20.
Okay. 31-20. Well, I'll tell you what, as long as Alabama has the 31, I'll be happy. Roll Tide, my friend.
Roll Tide. I'll be listening tomorrow night.
All right, brother. After the game, too, don't forget, we'll be on after the game. So, Ed and everyone else out there hanging out with us, make sure you tune in. And we'll have Nick Saban, his comments, and, you know, we'll be breaking it all down. And we'll be burning the midnight oil. All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again and talk about this Alabama and Georgia game. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hunter from Alabama.
What's up, Hunter?
Hey, man, how y'all doing tonight?
We're good.
Good.
I think just going into this game, man, everybody's talking about Georgia and Georgia's mentality going into this game. And, you know, I've always erred on the side of that whenever Nick Saban is in a position where he thinks that he is not giving enough credit, or his team's not giving enough credit, he's always found a way to rally up his guys. And so as much as we talk about the SEC championship and what Georgia was, you know, the Georgia's shortcomings in that game, and then their motivation to win this game, which I'm not saying they're not motivated, but I just don't hear enough of everybody talking about Georgia when we got to remember who the master motivator is here. I mean, how many times have we seen it with Saban where people said the dynasty's over and all this stuff, and just year after year he continues to find a way to win.
Hunter, I'm going to say this to Trey. I mean, isn't it the guy? There was a guy, what was it, from ESPN or something that wrote about the end of the Alabama dynasty, and it's been like 3 championships ago.
Yeah, I mean, Skip Bayless is the the number one guy to call the end of the dynasty here.
Yeah,
so I think he's the number one motivation. I think a lot of the times for Nick Saban and Alabama when it comes to the media. But no, you're right. I mean, Alabama loves any kind of way they can be the underdog, and I think this group especially, you look at certain players, they just kind of have that intrinsic motivation. I think
I can't hear him.
Oh yeah, he's talking. Sorry, Hunter. Just Trey's kind of giving his thoughts, and I'll bounce back to you here in a second.
Yeah, sorry if the phone lines are all crossed up tonight, but Hunter, hopefully you can listen to us at some point in the show. Thanks for your call, but yeah, I mean, I'll keep it quick here. You're right, Hunter. I think that any way that Alabama can get motivated for this game, they're going to try to find it. Georgia, hopefully the motivation of this national title drought doesn't outweigh any one person, but it's going to be a highly motivated game either way.
I'm trying to dig through Twitter right now to find that that's oh yeah, here it is. Dan Woken. Yeah, Dan Woken's the guy. Alabama dynasty looks like it's over. USA Today. Yeah, Dan, 3 championships ago.
Yeah, not quite.
No. So Hunter, anything else before we go to the next caller?
No, man. Like I said, I'll be waiting to see y'all tomorrow night after the game, and let's get this natty.
Hey, roll tide. Let's do it, man. Thanks for calling in, Hunter. Let's go right back to the phone lines. And I guess, Trey, because they can't hear you, I'll just have them give like their statement, and then we'll kind of just we'll kind of drift off to the next caller.
Yeah, their show. I mean, let them have the airtime here. I'm just hanging out.
No, that'd be good. All right, let's go right back to the phones again. And as you guys hang out, make sure you like and subscribe here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Let's talk a little Alabama football. All right, just roll with it here. Get it out, and then I'm going to drop you, and we'll talk about what your thoughts are. Who's this and where you calling from?
This is Jamori from Montgomery, Alabama.
What's up, Jamori?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well, man. How about you?
Pretty good. Kind of ready for tomorrow night. I don't know. Feeling pretty good about it, but a little nervous. Like, I know how hard it is to beat a team twice. But I had a couple of things I wanted to, ask your opinion about. What are your keys for both sides of the ball, particularly Alabama?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you mine. On the offensive side of the ball, Alabama's got to block. They got to do the exact same thing they did last time, and that's give Bryce Young as much time as he needs. And they're going to try to play a fast pace attack. So it's not like you really have to hold your block, but just give him time. They're going to stunt a lot more. They're going to blitz a lot more. They're going to try to overload one side of the line. But Alabama's got to be ready for that. Brian Robinson's going to have to do a nice job blocking. That's something that he's done all year long. And so I feel like that's a big part of it. Not having John Mechie could be huge, but Bryce Young's as good as anyone at getting the football out. So I feel like if you give him time, he's going to be really good.
I agree. Me personally, I feel like the X factor on the offensive side of the ball for us is going to be Jaleel Billingsley. I think that's somebody who kind of wasn't in the game much this year, but very capable. I feel like he's going to be our X factor on offense. I think he's going to get a lot of the mismatches considering the fact they're going to be kind of keen on Jameson Williams now. I think Jaleel Billingsley is going to be an X factor for us. I also think that JoJo Earl is going to be an X factor for us because of his speed. I feel like him in a couple plays, him with some speed, I feel like that'll give Georgia a different look. Defensive side of the ball, I think our X factor is probably going to be our linebackers, Toa and Christian Harris. Hopefully our corners and our secondary in general can stay, communicating and disciplined. I know what they're going to do is going to pick on the two corners, Kool-Aid and probably Kyrie Jackson. But I think me personally, I feel like on the defensive side of the ball, if we make steps and been to throw the ball more than 25 times, I think we're good. But it's also be key for us to get out in the lead and make him uncomfortable and make him throw the ball out of force, not luxury. I feel like we'll be okay, really. But we just can't turn the ball over. We play solid defense and, don't have any turnovers. I feel like we'll be okay. So I'm going to go with 31-20 Alabama. I think we're going to be up 27-20 late in the game. I think we're going to kick a field goal to ice it 30-20. Alabama.
Jamori, thank you for calling in, man. I hope you're right. Roll Tide, my friend.
Roll Tide.
Well, Trey, you heard it. You heard Jamori. Your thoughts on his kind of breakdown of the game?
Yeah, I love it. And to kind of take the words out of your mouth too, I really think the offensive and the defensive line are going to be the most important parts of this game. That's why Alabama won the first time around. In big man football games like this, you have to win in the trenches. It's very cliche to talk about, but that's really where this game is going to be won. I think for Alabama, Bryce Young is so good at creating offense on his own. He has a little bit more room for error, but Alabama's defensive line has to be a nuisance. If they are, I think it's going to be another, maybe even blowout for Alabama, but that really is the difference in this game.
Wow, that'd be something. Last time it was a blowout, but it kind of worked itself into one because of Alabama's ability to throw the football. All right, let's go right back to the phone lines. And as you hang out with us tonight, please like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as you hang out here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Again, come at us with what you want to talk about. If you want to throw a score up there, do that. If you have a question, we're probably going to get you off, talk about it, and then get to the next caller. There's a bunch of people that want to get on tonight, and we really appreciate you guys for being here and being a part of our show. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Mike Scott from Columbus, Ohio. How you doing, Nick?
What's up?
Man, listen, man. Hey, we're going to beat them again, man. We'll beat them again, man. It'll be a closer game. I like those scores that I'm hearing, the 31 to about 20, 24. It'll be harder, but them guys got to step up, man. I think my X factor is going to be Billingsley. He has to step up, man. He has to. He doesn't have a choice because I think it'll be one of them games like O.J. Howard. Remember back in 2015 where he was the X factor?
Yeah.
It'll be one of those games.
Look, and I thought about that too. And someone's going to have to play the role of Mechie. So I could see him being that guy.
Yeah, he has to. Yeah, he doesn't have a choice, man. Or, if he can't do it, we got to go with somebody else that's going to catch them off guard, like Hall. He'll catch him off guard. I know he hasn't been playing a lot, but that's somebody that's very talented. And, just like in, 2017 when we beat them, we had like 4 different freshmen that stepped up to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it can happen again, man. I think it can, man.
Yeah, well, who knew who Devontae Smith was at the time? Did anyone go in the game and think, you know what? For Georgia to win, they've got to take Devontae Smith out of the game in 2017. Did anyone say that?
No.
That's my point.
Two or Ruggs, man. So them guys, I think Christian Leary can be a good one as well.
Yeah, me too.
Christian Leary can be a great one.
I agree. Look, I've thought Christian Leary, Javon Baker. I want to see one of these other guys make a couple plays and get some confidence because the next Devontae Smith is on this roster. We just don't know who it is yet, unless it's Ja'Cory Brooks, and we kind of starting to figure that out now.
Yeah. On the defensive end, just real quick, on the defensive end, Dallas Turner, he has to come through. I really trust and believe everybody else will, and I think he will too, but I think he can be the X factor, the opposite side of Will that can attack that side, man, because them Will routes that Cook likes to run, and then we got to tighten up on the tight end, man. What's his freaking name?
Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers, man. We're going to have to stop that guy because I notice when things like break down, he immediately throws the ball to him, no matter where he is.
Right.
He like panics and he throws it to him because he's that good. So we're going to have to really get after that guy, man, and make somebody else beat us. We can't let 19 beat us. Somebody else has to beat us. I don't care if it's Pickens, that ain't really been playing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that number 4, whatever he is. Somebody else has to beat us. But I think Nick Saban to come out, man, 8-2 in this thing. And, man, roll Tide, man. I'm ready.
Roll Tide. Mike, what's your score?
I'm going to go with 30. I'm going to say 31. 31-27. Georgia's going to have a chance to win, and we're going to stop them.
Oh, man. So you're saying it's going to be a thriller.
It's going to be a thriller.
Thriller in Indy.
Yeah, 31-27.
All right, Roll Tide, Mike. Thanks for calling in from Ohio.
Man, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Trey, you heard what he had to say? Your thoughts?
I love it. I love when callers come on and bring that kind of energy. You hear me saying he's fired up. I'm right there with him. That gets me fired up. That's just so much fun to be in this situation if you're an Alabama fan, because there is really something to be said about that feeling in the air when you wake up on the day of the national title. I mean, this is something significant. This is really a chance for history. I love everything Mike had to say. And, talking about those young receivers, if not tomorrow, at some point, Ja'Cory Brooks is going to turn into, I think, one of the best receivers in all of college football. I mean, he was kind of the guy out of this class originally that we were, really keeping an eye on in the receiver group at least. And, JoJo Earl kind of turned some heads when he got here, and we're seeing Ja'Cory Brooks really, start to get more and more reps. But I think that this is, Bama's future at receiver. And Najee Hall is going to get his chance. I hope, I really hope. I don't know what his future looks like, if he's, actually considering the transfer portal or not. I'm not going to speculate on that. I think they're probably strongly convincing him not to, because he will get his opportunity. But, Ja'Cory Brooks, we're seeing, I think, a guy that, we could look back at as one of the best receivers, in this recent stretch, which says so much considering who has been a part of, some of these teams. And as far as guys that, we're not thinking about, I love, looking back at the Devontae Smiths of the world and, looking back at these games. The caller had a good point about Brock Bowers, contain him, find ways to stop him. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna act like Alabama has to really lock him down to win this game. Look at what they did in the SEC title. And Brock Bowers had an incredible day in that game. You can allow an X factor kind of player to have a big day as long as he is the only player on their team having a big day. Georgia's run game was abysmal in that, in the SEC title game. The rest of the receiving core wasn't very good. Brock Bowers had an amazing day, but he was it. If that can happen again, Alabama could certainly win this game. But, ultimately it comes back to Stetson Bennett and how much pressure you can put on him.
Look, I don't think Georgia's going to beat Alabama running the football. I think Georgia and Alabama both are excellent at stopping the run. And Georgia relies on that run so much. No one's really taken that away from them. But at the same time, Alabama's not going to run the ball either. They didn't even try that much last time, Trey.
Yeah, Georgia kind of came out with a different scheme than I expected. I thought they were going to really try to play to the full extent of their brand, and they tried some things. I think Brock Bowers, kind of hot streak at the time allowed him to get some more targets, and obviously he made the most of it there. But, this Alabama defensive front is certainly capable. It's not to say that Georgia running the football is the end of the world for Alabama. I'm saying stopping the run, finding a way for them to feel uncomfortable when they run the football. Georgia's going to try it. They have an insane core of backs. James Cook, Zamir White. I think that's one of the greatest combos in the world. And, that's just the front two. I think that they really could run the ball on anybody in the country, but Alabama's defensive line could stop any running back core in the country. So just this clash of titans in so many different areas. It's not just, right there at the defensive line with the running back room. You look at Alabama's receivers against Georgia's defensive backs. That's one of, the ultimate clash of titans in college football that we've seen in recent history. So, just some of the matchups in this game. This is truly what the national title is about. Getting the two best teams, and within the game, getting, the best matchups within the teams. We're going to see it with that run game. I don't think Georgia necessarily, is a lock to have success there, but Alabama is going to have to make them feel uncomfortable. I think that's really where you flip the tide in this game.
All right, Trey, let's go back to the phone lines again and take some more calls. And we appreciate all of you hanging out with us tonight on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, talking Alabama and Georgia live on a Sunday night. It's what we do before every Alabama game. normally after every Alabama game, honestly, but we'll be on tomorrow night after the game, Trey and I, to break it down for you, and hopefully it's a good thing and not a bad thing for Alabama. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, this is Mike from Kentucky. How you doing tonight, brother?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be twins. Got another national championship coming our way. I'm not too worried about this game, man. I've been a believer in Bryce Young 2 years. I mean, his junior year in high school, I love the kid. I just don't see us losing the game until he's gone. That's how much confidence I have in Bryce Young. And Bama's going to have the pieces around him to make him successful. You know, we might be a little light here or there. You know, I expect in the receiving game to see a changing of the guard and receivers. I think Georgia's going to double cover Jamison Williams and bracket him in zone all night. And Jacory's getting over the top. I'm telling you, he's going to get loose and he's going to get over the top. What's that cat, 6'3"? Don't think he ain't got a stride. He can outrun their safeties just as good as Jamison can. I think it's going to be another lopsided win. I'm looking for 48-17, brother.
Hey, well, thanks for calling in, Mike. Roll Tide. 48-17 would make Trey and I's night a lot easier because we could start the post-game show while the game was like in the fourth quarter, you know, like late in the fourth. We'd just come on here and talk to you guys, Alabama running the clock out at the end. That would, like last year, that'd be fine with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you, bro, as long as we got Bryce Young, I ain't scared of nobody. And that's it.
Well,
we might three-peat. He might get 2 Heismans. The sky's the limit for this kid.
Archie Griffin
All right, man, I'm going to let somebody else talk. It's a big night. Roll dadgum Tide.
Roll Tide. Thanks, Mike. Hopefully we'll be toasting some bourbon tomorrow night after the game. It's got a lot of football to be played before we get there. Trey, any thoughts on Mike's call?
Man, the mics tonight really bringing the energy. I love it again there. And, you know, just kind of relaying what he's saying. I don't know if Alabama needs Jamison Williams to be the X factor. I would love to see the young receivers kind of be the big playmakers in this game. We've had a couple callers talk about Jaleel Billingsley. He has to be a force. I think the tight end room as a whole has to be a force. You know, just anything and everything you can do to throw Georgia's defense off because, you know, we saw Georgia defense kind of get scored all over. 41 points, SEC title. But, you know, I've seen this Georgia defense a lot this year. This is a really, really good team. This is a big night. I'm going to let the calls continue to go. I think that was my last call there, Mick. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. Guys, this is just such an exciting time. Please keep getting in the comments. Please keep calling in. I know you guys got a lot to get to here. And, you know, like you said, we're going to be back tomorrow night. To break it all down. This is, you know, this is getting real, and there's going to be a lot to talk about either way. You know, if Alabama finds a way to win this national title, beating Georgia twice, that's going to be quite the story. And of course, you know, we're going to be here for sympathy. If they don't, I'm not going to put that out there though. And Mick, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Maybe we can send Chris out to the Strip to have a live Strip camera if Alabama does pull off the victory. I think that would be quite the feature on our post-game show.
Yeah, we did that a little bit last year, and it would be great to do it again. I'm not going to be there, though, because I'm going to be here in the studio. But last year I was out on the Strip. It was quite an experience out there. First time I ever made a video that went viral. I made a video of that guy standing on top of the CVS there on the Strip and another guy hanging into a tree celebrating after the game. So, yeah, look, if Alabama wins, let's throw Chris out on the street and have him be in. That'd be awesome. All right, well, thanks for joining us, Trey, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, guys.
All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again, talking Alabama. Throw your score out as you, comment. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is John from Tennessee.
What's up, John?
Hey, man. Just want to appreciate you guys' show. I haven't watched in a while, but it's good to come on here. And I watch the show every day, man. And it's phenomenal what you guys do. You, Mick, you're good, man. You're always on the horn, giving me information I need to know. Him and Trey and everybody else do a great job. So I really appreciate the show. This is a big game, man. So everything's on the line. Everybody knows what's at stake. This is the best two teams in the country going at it, man. And, of course I want Alabama to win, but any given football game can happen. So anything can happen. looking forward to us winning. Other than that, man, I just wanted to say thank you for the show. It's awesome to watch. Makes everything exciting. Like and subscribe, man. It's what I'm doing. So,
John, thank you, man. What's your score, John?
You guys do, man.
Well, before you get out of here, at least give me a score.
Yeah. My score prediction, if I had to bank, Nick, it's got to be somewhere in the ballpark. It's going to be, I'm going to think low scoring. I'm going to say probably 28-21 Alabama.
Okay, 28-21 Alabama. I take that. A 7-point win, a defensive struggle. Alabama with just a little bit more offense than Georgia. Look, I would take that. That would be a great night. Well, John, thank you for calling in, man, and roll tide, my friend.
Hey, roll tide, man.
That's John from Tennessee calling in. And, guys, we appreciate all of you guys for calling in. I'm going to go until 7, so I'm going to try to get to your calls here at 205-850-0883. So I'm going right back to the phone lines again, and we'll talk some more about this Alabama-Georgia game. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Demetrius from North Carolina there, Cal. I mean, not Cal, but it's Demetrius from North Carolina.
What's up, Demetrius?
Oh, just rolling and get on my way to the job so I can get in the big truck. You know, I had to call in, give my little 2 cents worth. And, you know, I believe the boys gonna pull it out tomorrow. Of course, I'm pulling for them. And I'm looking for somebody in their receiving core to step up. Not like, you know, the first time, I mean, the other championship we played Georgia in, you know, it was a bunch of freshmen out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of some of these freshmen they've been barking all year about getting in the game. Hey, this might be your time to shine. And I mean, I just feel, you know, normally I feel, you know, a little nervous, you know, even though I ain't playing, but I believe they're going to come out. I believe the boys going to come out there and handle business. I'm proud of the young men. You know, they doubted all the naysayers and still got naysayers after they beat the team. They going up against. I mean, they still got naysayers. I mean, come on now, you got to put some respect on them young men and roll tide. And my score prediction, I believe it's going to be 38-24, and Georgia going to score that 24-point late, you know, to kind of make it seem like it's a little bit more closer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be some new schemes, some new strategies on the defensive end. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball to stop the run and contain they tight end and put the ball in Stetson Bennett's hands and let him beat you. And our defense is too good for that. We're gonna show that from game 1 this year. You know, we improved every week, and we're gonna put the ball in Bryce Young's hands. You know the magic that young man can pull.
Oh yeah. Well, let's hope so. And I had it at 41-28. So, you know, I'm kind of the same way you are. I think Alabama's going to – and these national championship games, a lot of times they turn into blowouts because as the team that's trailing, you got to take chances if you fall behind. And if you're the team ahead, you don't turn off the juice. I mean, you got to continue to score. And it goes back to the 2009 title. I mean, remember Alabama had that huge lead at half, and all of a sudden Texas came back and got really close. Eric Anders had that sack that forced a fumble on the backup quarterback, Gilbert, for Texas. And then Alabama punched it in. And I want to say it was Mark Ingram. It might have been Trent Richardson, but they scored. And then after that, it was over again. But you never want to take the chance of not putting a team away in a title game. So that's why I think a lot of these games turn into blowouts.
Exactly. Keep the foot on the pedal. I would love to see I would love to see to jump out on them and keep putting the pressure on them like that instead of us playing from behind like we have several times against Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
We got the offense to do it, but I really would like to do that and keep the foot on the neck and until Coach Saban, you know, at the end of the game, if he got a comfortable lead, you know, he gonna He a man of integrity and respect. He ain't just gonna blow out nobody just to be blowing them out. You know, he always have, no matter what we call for, blow him out. Hey, no, that ain't how we do it here. So roll Tide, and I'm gonna sit back and listen to the rest of the callers.
All right, thanks, Demetrius from North Carolina. Always great to hear from you. And don't forget, tomorrow night after the game, we'll be taking some calls. Hopefully it'll be good calls and not sad calls. But you know what? When you play for a title, there's really good teams. All right, guys, again, like and subscribe. Give us the thumbs up. And if you come on, throw out your point and then give me your score. I'm going to 7 o'clock. So I want to try to get as many of you in as possible. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Charles calling from Birmingham, Alabama.
What's up, Charles?
Well, I have a few things to say about the game. Yes, I'm an Alabama fan, but at one time I was kind of feeling bad for Georgia, and I was thinking that maybe Kirby can get it this year because I was listening to the Georgia fans bark about how they're so disappointed, but then something happened. All of a sudden, we were underdogs going into this game. Everybody, David Pollack, all ESPN, all CBS Sports, they're picking Georgia. And Georgia's saying that this game that we played was a fluke. And then I realized, okay, well, that's stupid because if they would have stuck on the fact that what Alabama did to Georgia, the history between Georgia never being Alabama, then I would be terrified as being an Alabama fan. But now that I see the way that Alabama is playing, it's basically the world against Bama. And if you're playing that way against Bama, you have to pick Bama. And the reason I feel that way is because I may be the only Alabama fan. I was afraid of the Texas A&M game. I was afraid of the Florida game. I was afraid of the Arkansas game. I was afraid of the Auburn game. It was something about Alabama expecting to win. They think they're going to win. Everybody that gave us a close game, they were disrespected because Arkansas said, we're a good team. We're going to lose by 20. LSU said, we're a good team. We're going to lose by 25.
Mm-hmm.
And Auburn said, we're a good team. We're going to lose by 20. So they came out like the world was against them. And I feel like that is the same position that Alabama is in right now. But because, it's you listen to Nick Saban, this is his team. This is a team that has basically been through everything. We've been punched in the mouth. We've lost players. Nick Saban had to go with the ups and downs. We've basically been through it all. And I feel like that tomorrow night would be the culmination. And I think the score is going to be 35-17.
Hey, look, Charles, I hope you're right. Thank you. And Roll Tide, thank you for the call. Great points. And look, I'll even elaborate. I picked Georgia to win the championship at the beginning of the season. And I thought they would be the best team. I thought they had all their guys coming back. Alabama was young. This was definitely the year to get Alabama, and teams had an opportunity. But this young group grew up in that Auburn game. And I don't know that they're going to win tomorrow, but I know they're going to show up and be ready for a fight. Sensei Saban and his dojo are not going to go into this thing and just roll over. They're not going to I don't see them getting blown out. They might lose, but it'll be because Georgia played the best possible game that they could play. And they have a lot of great players on their roster and on their team as well. But so does Alabama. And Alabama also has a belief, an understanding of how to win games. And I think that really matters when you're talking about playing for championships. Alabama's won a ton of championships, and it's because they know how to perform like Tom Brady and the NFL. It's the same thing with these Saban teams. They just know how to get ready for the big game and not let the moment be too big for them. All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again. And again, give me your thoughts and then throw out a score. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Garrison calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hey, what's up, Garrison? Long way from Tuscaloosa.
Up,
Great
man?
to have you.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm definitely a Bama fan. But my prediction about the game, man, I think the biggest matchup is the quarterback matchup. If you look at the history of Georgia, they always had a second-string quarterback that I thought was better than the quarterbacks that they start. Like Jake Fromm, I thought Justin Fields was a better quarterback. And I think JT Daniels is a better quarterback. And that's just my opinion. I feel like they'll be more explosive if they play those guys. I'm not taking anything away from Stetson Bennett. He's played great this season, but when the big moment comes, he could never perform. You know, he makes a lot of mistakes in big moments, especially in Bama. If you look at the past 2 years, he makes a lot of mistakes. He throws picks down the stretch of games. And I feel like that's the biggest matchup in this game. I think, you know, a lot of people don't get Alabama defense a lot of credit, but they have definitely came on towards the end of the season. And I feel like that's their game plan. They're going to make Stetson Bennett beat them, you know, and I just don't think that he's capable of doing it, you know. So my prediction score-wise, I think Alabama wins 35-17.
I like that. A lot of people have kind of been in that same range, Garrison, where they kind of have Alabama in that, you know, scoring in the 30s somewhere, and Georgia not able to get into the 20s. Last time it was, 41-28, right? So Georgia scored 4 touchdowns maybe, or was it 41-24, but something like that. But they were up 10 and then had a really tough time scoring on Alabama after that. They moved the ball. They just weren't able to get into the end zone. Stetson Bennett was pressured a lot, and when he was under pressure, he didn't look good. And so I'm sure that for Alabama, the formula is just like last time, and that's to win both sides of the football. And I think Georgia's defense is going to be more motivated than they ever have been in their life to get out there and get in the backfield and get a sack and just be fired up. You got to weather that early emotional storm if you're Alabama, and then once it gets into a normal game, watch out. You know, that's my biggest concern is the first 10 minutes of this football game.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't understand, man, why they don't play these other guys. Like, you know, I know Georgia has had a lot of success with Stetson Bennett, but from a recruiting standpoint, I just think JT Daniels is a better quarterback. He's a 5-star, and I know stars don't mean anything, but him with those weapons that they got, that'll be a tough team to beat. And I just think, like, Stetson Bennett, he just don't step up in big moments.
Right.
You know, down the stretch of games, like the SEC championship game, he threw 2 picks. It should have been 3. Jordan Battle dropped 1 that should have been a pick 6. You know, I think it was kind of earlier in the game, but yeah, he makes a lot of mistakes down the stretch of games. He's a great player. I'm not taking anything away from him, but can he step up in that big moment? That's what separates the greats from the good players, you know, like Tom Brady. Tom Brady hasn't always had weapons. You know, he had receivers that was unnamed, you know, but he always found a way to make those players better around him.
Yep.
And I don't think Stetson Bennett has that X factor. You know, I think Bryce Young definitely has it. You know, Bryce Young makes great decisions. If he don't have it, he'll throw it away. If he's under pressure, he's a smart football player, you know. I heard Ray Lewis say, you know, he could never compete with Tom Brady because he never watched a lot of film. You know, he said he had to get in the film room of like Tom Brady does, you know, and I feel like that's something that Bryce Young does. You know, I think he studies the game before it happens. He knows where he's going into, and that's just what makes him a better quarterback than that's why he's a Heisman Trophy winner. So, you know, so I got Bama winning tomorrow. And I definitely hope they pull it out.
Garrison, thank you for calling, my friend. Roll Tide.
Yeah, roll Tide.
All right, let's try to get a couple more in before we get out of here tonight on a Sunday and set things up for the showdown tomorrow in Indy. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Jay. I'm calling from Northern Virginia.
What's up?
Not too much. First of all, my score is 38-31 Elephants.
Okay.
The second thing is, and I don't know if you guys mentioned this earlier, but I like watching Uncle Lou, the Georgia football guy. His rants when they lose, he just loses his mind. I think it's the funniest thing. But he did a he did a video. I think it came out yesterday. It might have been the day before. He was really looking at. He went back and looked at Alabama losses, like the last 6 or 8 losses. And bottom line is that if you want to beat Alabama, you're going to have to score 40. Every loss that we've had recently, the other team scored more than 40 points. So the real question is, and I think I think he's kind of expecting a loss here. But the bottom line is that do you think Stetson Bennett can score 40 or more on Bama? If you do, it's going to be a game we could lose. If you don't, we probably should win because we can score 40.
Well, we did already. Matter of fact, we did it the last 2 years.
That's what I really hold down to.
Yeah, look, I hear you. So give me your score again.
38-31 Alabama.
Okay, 38-31. And then, so you're saying we're not going to get 40, but we're going to get damn close to it, and they're not, and then we're going to win because of that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like the last caller. The first 10 minutes, we need to weather the storm. And the other thing Uncle Lou pointed out, which was really great, is that in I guess their last 4 or 5 or 6 losses to Bama, they've averaged 7 points in the second half per game. You're not going to beat them. You're not going to beat Bama scoring 7 after halftime.
Well,
so
no.
if that same trend can turns out to be, in line with previous games because we made great, halftime adjustments, they're done. But I'm expecting them to come out with their hair on fire and with a point to prove. And Alabama could lose this game, but I feel confident that our guys are ready to go. I haven't really seen anything. Of course, you guys are probably more in tune than I am, but it seems like they're loose just from what I'm seeing. Alabama, Nick Saban wearing his leather jacket or whatever. He seems in a little jovial mood. I think if things were tight, he'd be a little bit more tight.
Yeah.
So
what's the strategy with this team, Jay? It's the thing that he's been trying to get. He's been trying to get these guys to be loose the entire season and confident. And it feels like he's got them there. I don't know if that's why he wore the Fonzarella jacket, but you know what? I love it. I do
too. And if that's a mind game he's playing with them, then I hope it pays off for him and the guys go and get another one. I love it. I don't really want Georgia to win one. I don't care if it's been since 1980. If they don't ever win another one, that's just fine by me.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in tonight and roll tide. And don't forget, we'll be on tomorrow after the game. As soon as the game's over, we're going to be on talking about the thing. We'll be taking your calls. We'll hear from Saban. We'll hear from the locker room if they win. Maybe have someone down on the strip. I don't know. If they lose, it'll be the other way. We'll kind of talk about the game and what happened. But we'll be here after the game, and you're invited back on. So thank you for calling.
All right. Roll Tide. Have a great evening.
You too. Have a great evening. Guys, appreciate it. It was a fun night. We talked a lot about the game. We took some calls. We heard from Trey Yannity. We kind of did the whole thing tonight, and we're moving forward here. Talking about Alabama playing Georgia, a game that's going to take place tomorrow in Indianapolis, a rematch 33 days apart. The statistics in this game go against Alabama winning because the 5 times in college football history that the first team won in a game of 2 top 5 teams that played twice, the second time the other team won, right? But let me tell you something. When I was a student at Alabama, there was a streak that rolled for years, right? From 1969 to 2001, Alabama won or what didn't lose, because I think there was a tie in there, in Baton Rouge against LSU. And Alabama won games down there, and it was like the bio voodoo always worked for Alabama. LSU had more success in Tuscaloosa than they did in their own state. Nick Saban came in. I remember he was coaching LSU. They asked him about the streak, and he's like, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't know. What does it matter what happened last year? Nick Saban does not believe in any of that stuff when it comes to, anything other than the team that goes out and executes the best is going to win the football game. And I feel like going into this game, that's exactly what we're looking at. Sorry to all of you guys that I didn't get to tonight, but again, we will be on tomorrow after the game. We're going to have coverage of this thing all night. You can check it out on the site. It's up there. And then tomorrow, and I said all night, all week, we'll have coverage, including starting tomorrow. Jay Barker's show tomorrow from 12 to 2 will be live. We'll have our post-game show come on tomorrow. Any news conferences, we'll have those as well. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. I'm Mick Gillispie, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Roll Tide, everybody. Good night.